Hello forum members, this is G47 for ZeroPointFuel. It's been a while since I created a video and here it is. It's the wheel. The wheel with the coils mounted. I hope the lighting in here is a little, it's not too bad. I'm gonna walk around the wheel and show you everything that I've done to date and take you step by step. This won't take very long. So wheel has 16 magnets. In a previous video you probably saw where I built the wheel and had it on there. Did all the markings, scored the wheel so I knew where the coils needed to get mounted. I'll explain what these little viewing holes are. It's not rocket science, and I'll cover that in a second. So let me give you a quick walk around. I'm gonna have to step back because I can't get all this in one shot. So there's the wheel there, okay, and here are the coils. So let me step back a little bit. So I got 9 coils mounted. I'm gonna just kind of point a couple things out. There's the coil. I got my ground, got my red wire, which is coming off the copper plate, okay, and my black wire will be my power going into the chips from the input bank of batteries. Basically, this small harness comes out to this wiring connector here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be creating a harness that goes all the way around the edge of the wheel here, okay. Basically starts on the left, just like Technomancer has it, and it'll come around all the way around the top, and we'll exit out the side for the output bank of batteries down at that end. And that harness actually is going to look something like this, and I'm going to get to that in about a second. I'm actually going to make my own harness. 3 wires, 1 for ground, 1 for power, and 1 for the output power coming out of the harness, and I'll cover that in a second. Anyway, so going back to the coil, this is it. They're all mounted. One thing I did not like, but I'm just going to have to live with it, is that I have a small gap on some of the coils between the wheel and the coil itself. Not sure why. I think some of my coils may be just a hair taller than the other, and or the whole wheel alignment thing. Remember, this is all wood, and I'm not an expert, but hey, it's sturdy as can be in there. So taking a look around the back, I did use these bolts to anchor the coil, just like Technomancer did. One of the things that I did, and again, this was not rocket science, I used a small HDP template, and basically what I did there was I just kept lining them up where I had scored the wheel, drilled a couple of pilot holes, and then drilled out the holes where the bolts needed to go. Now, I want to talk about this little viewing hole here. I want to see if I can get in on one of these as close as I can. I know you can't see in there. Let me take a step back. This is a coil that I have not mounted. Let me take a shot of that. If you see, this is the center of the core right there, and there's a blue line that I have, right? And basically that blue line comes over the top, and technically speaking that blue line should be the center of the coil where the core is lining up. So you can probably see that right there, right? When I mounted the core, and I'm just going to put one here, right? When I mounted the core, I basically used these viewing holes, right, to line up that blue line so it is exactly squared up with the score on the wheel that I created when I had the firing pattern on there. So this is a 3-3 firing pattern, 3 coils per group, 3 groups, right? And I know you can't see that in there, but if you were to look in deep enough, that blue line actually lines up perfect on the viewing hole. This is not rocket science. I did not have the luxury of putting a plexiglass ruler kind of thing like Technomancer created. I probably could have, but I don't have a lot of room in here. I'd be really tight, If I have to go to a different pattern, chances are, and most likely I will have to come up with that plexiglass template that Technomancer did when he built his wheel. But anyway, I feel confident enough that my markings actually are lining up. As a matter of fact, this blue tape here actually is supposed to line up on that wheel. And I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but it does line up. There we go. And that's kind of been my starting point. All the magnets and all the markings are lined up. So this thing should be okay as far as firing up. Anyway, going back to the coil, there are gaps. I'm not happy with it, but I'm going to live with it. And again, this is the back of the wheel. Let me just back up here so you can see that. That is pretty much it. What I'm going to be doing next before Christmas, that'll be my Christmas gift to me, is to finish mounting the harness. So let me just cover that real quick. I have here this little baby. Let me put that down here so you can see it in better light. That is actually going to be a harness I'm going to be creating. This part of the wire will be the wire that goes all the way around the wheel. And I'm actually going to solder these pigtails coming off the wire. And once I have that all together in ground, red, and black, I'm going to simply stick it all in this wire conduit thing here, so that, and this, you know, you can buy this at the local hardware store. It comes cracked, and you just stick the wire in there, and then I'll wrap it around the edge of the harness. As always, I'll test for continuity and any leaks, but I doubt it because I'm going to be using some heat shrink connections right there, and I'm going to cover that in an entire video. Let me take a step back. I don't know if you can see this. This is the cardboard pattern that I had when I first built the wheel. As you can see, it looks like the wheel, and it's actually the exact measurements of the wheel itself that I used to mark it out before I cut it out with a jigsaw. And what I decided to do is use the cardboard as a marker to hold the wire harness that I'm going to be creating. I got an extra 3 feet coming out on both ends, so I should have plenty of wire. I kind of got this idea watching How Do They Do It on Discovery Channel. Some car maker has a wiring pattern for their automobiles up on a wall, and they just keep running the wire over this pattern. And I figured, hey, if it works for them, it should work for little old me. I'll do the green one first. These red connections here, or these red lines, is where they line up with the connectors up on the wheel on the other side. If everything comes out right, this is where I'll splice, cut a piece of the shielding off, solder a pigtail on here, and make sure I have the shrink wrap, or this black stuff that you use to cover up the wires. I'm forgetting the name all of a sudden. Anyway, and I'll do that all the way around until I'm done. And when I'm done, I should have 9 pigtails that line up with the connectors on the other side of the wheel. I'll do that for the ground, red and black. And like I said, then I'll wrap it all up and throw that on there on the wheel. And that should be done before Christmas. As a matter of fact, that's my commitment to myself. Anyway, so hope you like it. I am stoked. Oh, I do want to show you one thing. I'm going to take the liberty of giving this baby a spin. One of the things I want to do while I find my little glove, because I can't grab it any other way, is I want to give this wheel a wheel test, or a power test, or not a power test, a spin test. That's what I want to call it. And what I want to do is I want to connect something to this little pulley right here. What I want to do with the wheel is give it a spin test and connect something to this pulley right here, so that when I go to, and I want to get this thing up to 800 RPMs. I want to do it without any power connections. Bear with me. And I want to see how this wheel is going to perform going at about 800 RPMs. So I don't want to go through all the trouble of hooking up the canisters, the wiring, the batteries, and find out that this wheel is not true, or whatever the case may be, and then just run into just plain old build issues. So, all right, so I don't know if you can see this. I have to put a glove on because I really don't have no other way of turning this thing. I got to give it a little push first. These batteries, these magnets that I got on here are super strong. I've got them at about, I don't know if you can see in there, I've got them at about a little more than 1/4 of an inch away. I had to tell you, getting them at 1/4 inch was going to be really tricky. As a matter of fact, this one core, and I know you can't see that, I got one coil on there that's at exactly 1/4. I'm gonna have to unmount that and move it back a hair, because I have a feeling it's just gonna cause me trouble when this thing kicks off. All right, let's give it a manual spin test. I want you to pay special attention to the sound. It's actually comforting to know that I might be heading in the right direction. Here we go. That's the best I could do manually. I have a funny feeling that when I get this thing at 800 RPMs, it's going to sound just like Technomancer's. That's just stuff on the table rattling. All right, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays to everybody. We're out.